Down south, Tennessee voters head to the polls on Tuesday for a very, and I mean very closely looked at House special election. Now, this race appears to be neck and neck. It's between a Republican by the name of Matt Van Epps and a Democrat named Afton Bain, who's been dubbed the AOC of Tennessee. Madison Scarpino has the latest from Atlanta. That's an interesting moniker, the AOC of Tennessee. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Kevin. Yes, it is. And both parties are pouring millions of dollars into this race, and it's typically a very red district. So here's why. Republicans are trying to avoid a major upset with an already razor-thin majority in the House. And Democrats want to keep up with their recent victories, so they want to further narrow that House majority. So this special general election race on Tuesday is critical. Trump-endorsed Matt Van Epps is a former Army helicopter pilot. He says he's an America First conservative, and he's been slamming his opponent, Afton Bain, calling her radical.
She wants new and higher taxes to fund her socialist agenda. She's been endorsed by the Democrat Socialists of America. All of these are failed policies. They're not right for Tennessee, and they're not right for America.
And while the state representative is facing backlash for so-called far-left socialist policies, Bain is heavily campaigning on affordability. It's something that worked well with Mayor-elect Mamdani in New York. And the DNC chair believes she has a, quote, excellent shot to win. Here's Bain on CNN this morning.
I think it's hilarious that Republicans and their billionaire friends are trying to spend millions to save a seat that they should win without thinking. But if we flip this seat, it will send a national message that the Republican Party needs to get serious about lowering healthcare costs.
And sometimes the results of these special elections can even be a signal of the president's approval among voters and what we could potentially expect in the upcoming election. So this one will be a very interesting one to watch, Kevin.
Yes, indeed. We'll be watching very carefully on Tuesday. Maddie, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Joining us now to talk all about it is Julian Epstein, Democratic consultant and former House Judiciary Committee Chief Counsel. I always love talking to you because I know you get it. You understand the ins and outs of politics, and I'm just curious why you think this race is as tight as it is, especially given the red history of it.
Well, I think there's an anti-incumbency factor that is happening to both Democrats and Republicans because so many people are anxious about the economy. But I think Bain is not a very serious candidate. She's certainly an extreme candidate. She said she hates Nashville, where she would represent. She's for defund the police, a whole host of very far left sort of democratic socialist ideas. And I think this reflects, Kevin, two failures on the part of the Democratic Party. It used to be a generation ago that the Democratic leadership, say Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, would be able to stop far-left candidacies like this by using the state Democratic apparatus and the donor apparatus to make sure that you had centrist candidates that would have a better chance of winning and that would reflect well on the Democratic Party generally. And that infrastructure has just collapsed. The Democratic leadership no longer has that kind of control that they did, and that's why you see extremist candidates emerging around the country. The second issue is I think the Democratic leadership has really failed to articulate a set of ideas that would appeal to an increasingly disaffected youth. And that's why you get bad ideas that have sensational online appeal, why you have those ideas starting to gain more interest amongst, particularly, again, as I say, the disaffected and the unhappy youth.
Yeah, and a lot of them, quite frankly, suffered tremendously under the Biden administration economically, and so now they're just looking for change and answers to their problems. And by the way, I think it's also important to point out the Democrats are doing a really strong job of growing or developing candidates that are sharp, they're on message, they're good looking. You know, you can go AOC, Mamdani, Bain. I'm seeing a pattern here, and it seems to be working, certainly with a lot of voters on the left. It'll obviously remain to be seen if this will ultimately work in this race. Let me share this, Julie, and get your thoughts. It's Tim Burchett. He warns that this could be very, very tight. He's urging folks there in Tennessee to get out there and support Van Epps. Listen to this.
They pumped a ton of money into it. And why did they do that? Because they know Republicans are asleep at the switch. Again, 12% of the population goes, and it's whoever has the best ground game. I don't know anything about politics anywhere in the country other than in Tennessee. And, brother, I know Tennessee, and that race could get very tight. The Democrats they've got a good ground game there. They brought Kamala Harris in for a reason, because it's close and they know it.
15 seconds. What do you think of that?
Well, I think Burchett is shoring up the troops. I don't think there's a big chance that Boehner is going to win, although I think the election could be closer. And I think to your point earlier, if the Democrats don't provide good answers on the concerns that particularly young voters have about the economy, then they're going to be attracted to bad answers like socialism, which is going to make their problems a lot worse. So again, I think the predicament that the Democrats are in is all because of the failure of a leadership that used to be strong and is now weak.
Let me get you to weigh in on this while I have you. You know, a lot of people have been talking about old Chuck Schumer. Guys wielded a lot of power. You know Chuck. I've been in Washington an awful long time, but apparently the Fight Club's coming after him. Let me share this. The New York Times reports this headline. Very interesting. Chuck Schumer faces pushback from a Fight Club of Senate Democrats, a group of liberal senators quietly challenging the minority leader over his approach to the midterms and President Trump in a sign of the party's deep frustration. I'm not surprised by that. Are you?
No, and yes, I know Chuck Schumer well. I worked with him for years. I don't think this is a generational issue for the Democrats. I think it's an ideological issue. Again, I think socialism is attractive in very deep blue urban areas. It's not attractive anywhere else. But the problem with Schumer is he's not a particularly good public speaker, and he hasn't shown any strength in terms of being able to lead the party. What you need is somebody like a Bill Clinton who can stand up to the far left and say, these are a set of ideas that are going to take the party to a bad place. We're going to go back to centrism. We're going to go back to secure borders. We're going to go back to safe streets. We're going to go back to trying to rebuild failing schools that the teachers' unions have completely failed on. We're going to rebuild for the AI future. Common sense ideas that appeal to the political center is the road back for the Democrats. The cheap approach is to go with the social media influencers, which is where the socialists sort of get their energy from. And that's easy to do if you don't want to stand up to them because you're scared of the reaction. But it's ultimately a place that takes the Democratic Party to a bad place, as you can see from their approval numbers, which are in the low 30s.
Yep. I've seen that too, and that not only goes for Democrats broadly, but even some of the bigger names, including Chuck Schumer. The real danger is it's one thing, again, Julian, to win a deep blue seat or even one that heavily leans blue like we saw in Virginia and New Jersey, but it gets super tough, especially in those more competitive races down the line, especially as we look forward to the midterms, to say nothing of a general in 2028. The great Julian Epstein, thank you for your time today, my friend. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.